I am so excited that you're here. Before we dive into these bonus videos, I want to thank you so much for investing in yourself with the Heal, Embody, and Elevate community made journal. Now, within these videos, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to use the journal, and how to use the coloring pages, which might seem a little bit self-explanatory, but I really wanted to give you these bonus videos along with healing and embodiment and elevation, plus an invitation to go a little bit deeper than within these videos. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Angela Turpin. I am a trauma-informed coach, and I help all women heal from sexual abuse. And I have been healing for the last 10 plus years. I've been helping women heal from their sexual abuse for probably about the last 5, coming on 6 years. I just finished my master's degree in transpersonal psychology and have become an ICF credited coach. I'm still working on my hours to become ACC, but I am officially certified and qualified to actually apply for that. So that's just a little bit about me and my accolades. But even though I have all this education, I have this experience, I also am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, and I was also attacked at 19 and at 26. So I understand the chaos and the roller coaster and the hell that you might be experiencing while you are attempting to heal from this abuse. Remember that you are in a safe place, and this is all about helping you take the beginning steps to truly heal. Now, within this journal, you might have noticed that there weren't any journal prompts. There were affirmations in the coloring pages. When I first began healing, I actually did not directly begin healing my sexual abuse because I was so inconsistent with taking care of myself, because I was so inconsistent with speaking up and really connecting with myself. I had to first begin a practice that allowed me to reconnect with myself, allowed me a safe place to truly write the things that I wanted to write. And so I began with journaling, and not just specifically about my sexual abuse, but about my day, what I was feeling, what I was experiencing, my triggers, what they actually meant. And by allowing myself to be in that space, it then took me down a path to feel strong enough and brave enough and courageous enough to truly take on healing from my sexual abuse. Now, to be honest, I did not begin healing from my sexual abuse with a therapist or with a coach. I actually began by truly journaling. And what I will do is I will link the recovery journal for childhood sexual abuse down in the description and the comments so that you can see that and connect with that if that's what you would like to do. The reason why I created that is because I don't believe that everybody is just ready to jump in and dive into working with a therapist and quote unquote airing out their dirty laundry, right? That's kind of how we see it. That's how we feel about it. That's how we're conditioned to see it. And so I feel like that is the perfect place to begin healing specifically and head on with your childhood sexual abuse if you are in fact a survivor of that. So this journal, the Heal, Embody, and Elevate journal, is truly to just get you started to reconnect with yourself and allow yourself to come into this space of self-expression with writing and creatively through your coloring. So first, I want to dive into how to actually use the coloring pages. You can use them however you want, color however you want. That's not what I'm trying to say. The goal of that is to really allow yourself to creatively express yourself. It feels really good. It kind of allows us to open up our heart again, let our inner child kind of be out in the open and really just be able to have some fun, right? And if you've experienced sexual abuse, especially from your childhood, you probably have really cut off your inner child. You might really find it really hard to have fun, let loose, maybe even play with your children. I know that I've had that experience as a mother. It has been so difficult for me to be able to play with Aubrey and really just let loose and let my own inner child out. As she's gotten older, it's been a little bit easier, but I understand. And where this actually comes from is because we're not only conditioned as women to grow up and end the childish behavior, but we also lock away and protect our inner child because she might have experienced some type of trauma, some way, shape, or form, not just specifically about sexual abuse. So this is really about letting your inner child out and just having fun with it. Now, here's how I actually know that it's time for me to color. Number one, I truly want to color. I have an itch for it. I want to do it. I want to create. I want to express in that way. Or number two, I just cannot get my mind to shut off. This one is huge for me. This is how I really know that I need to color. I'm big on meditating. I think it's powerful. I think it's important. But also I feel like sitting down and forcing yourself to be quiet and move the thoughts through your mind can be so difficult. And because I understand that, I know that there are other ways that you can actually create that meditation effect for after the fact, right? That really calm and that really peaceful and that really like euphoric sense. You can actually do that through coloring. Now, I know that there are other ways you can do this, but coloring is definitely one of my favorite ways to be able to have that metaphoric, that meditative state after the fact and actually do something rather than forcing myself to sit still. What I tend to notice is that it does quiet my mind. It doesn't really leave any space for overthinking, coming into those hypothetical situations, and it kind of allows me to leave any stress of the day, any triggers, any flashbacks, just allows me to leave it there. And I'm fully focused and concentrating on the coloring. This is how I recommend that you use it. You can use it however you would like. And I wanted to also let you know this is how I am using the coloring pages as well. Now, moving into journaling. I understand that journaling can be quite difficult because we don't necessarily do it consistently. We don't necessarily know what to write. And if we're being totally honest, the words are a mirror, and sometimes looking at that mirror is really difficult to do. We don't really want to notice the thoughts that we're thinking in our head. The reality is that the more that we allow some of these thoughts to spin around in our head, the more angry we become, the more hurt that we become, the more rageful we become, and the more we can't let go of these things because we're creating these hypothetical situations in our mind that aren't accurate, but we're believing everything our mind is telling us, even though we know that our mind's goal is to actually protect us. So when we're doing that and we're just allowing these thoughts to spin around in our head and not actually release anywhere because they're hard to see, we're actually making it worse. We're making it harder for us to heal. And we're making all that shit in our head that's crazy, it's making it so much harder to let it go so that we can be a regulated and calm and at peace woman. Right? So we can be a better mom, so that we can be more patient, loving, and understanding. So the goal of your journal is to release all those thoughts without judgment. This actually creates the self-connection. A lot of this self-connection that has actually been disconnected because of the abuse that we've experienced. When you allow yourself to connect with yourself, the more that it's going to be easier for you to connect with your body. This is why I believe journaling is such a powerful tool, because it really does prime you to be able to take the next steps within your healing, like regulating your nervous system, listening and connecting with your body. But first, you want to have this connection. Another reason why you really want to journal is because it is truly a safe place for you to be able to let everything out. A lot of the reason why we don't express ourselves and share what we're thinking to our partners or our friends is because we're actually afraid of judgment. And that judgment is truly about being rejected. What if I say something wrong? What if I offend someone? What if someone just doesn't accept me for the way that I am? And in your journaling, you can write and write and write without any of that fear of being rejected or judged by another person. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, what if someone read my journal because one time in sixth grade, my mom found my journal, my best friend found my journal, and she read it and made a big deal out of it, something like that. You can actually write in yellow. Yellow is super powerful and it's super hard to read. You have to really be able to concentrate to really be able to flow and read what's going on in your journal. So if you are really struggling with the privacy, then I recommend that you write and journal. It's super powerful. I used to have an ex that would read my journals. And so I started writing in yellow and he no longer was reading my journals. So just a little thing to know about that. Another reason why you really want to continue to journal is because you really create a space of clarity. You know how we were just talking about sometimes those thoughts are spinning around in our head and we're making up hypothetical scenarios and we're kind of buying into what the mind says. When you're able to write it out, you really create clarity because you can start to see things from a bird's eye point of view. Now, the bird's eye point of view is kind of created after some time and consistency and some practice. You start to see, maybe I didn't need to react that way. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe that was unwarranted. Maybe I could have said things differently. Maybe I could have reacted this way or responded this way. And now it really allows you to see things from this view rather than the view of tunnel vision. Again, that comes from consistency and practice and really allowing yourself to go deeper into why things are happening and why things are transpiring the way that they are. I'm not expecting you to be able to do this within your first time journaling if you're not a practice or seasoned journaler. What I do want to give you some tips if you are really someone that struggles with consistency and struggling with what to write. What I recommend is that you do something that you are actually willing to commit to. If you are someone that really wants to build the habit of journaling, but you've never journaled before, then maybe you want to start for once a week for 5 minutes and that's it. And then you commit to the following week, once a week, 5 minutes, that's it. And you set a timer. And then you can make it a bigger chunk. So maybe you go from once a week to 3 times a week and you have it for 5 minutes. And then you expand and then you grow. I know that we get so caught up in the go big or go home mentality, but the reality is that's kind of a trauma response. It's also been conditioned into you that if you're not going to do all of it right now, then you're a failure. But the reality is that when you do it in bite-sized pieces that you know that you're willing to commit to, the more likely you are to show up for yourself and make this a habit and set discipline. After years and years of learning to journal and learning to create discipline, I'm telling you right now, it is about starting very small and willing to commit. If you take on this too much, what happens is we fulfill a self-fulfilling prophecy of, see, I knew that you couldn't do it. You're not enough. You're not good enough. You can't do these things. You're a failure. Why would you even do this in the first place? What's happening is that we're proving to ourselves that we should have never started journaling in the first place. This is why I recommend that we do it with this bite-sized piece that we know we are willing to commit to, that we can make work no matter what, and then we build from there and build from there and build from there. Okay, this is what I have for you. I hope that you really enjoy the journal. I'm so excited that you have it. I would love to be tagged in your videos, your stories, using the journal, showing off your journal. Make sure you follow me at Transform with Angela and tag me within your stories. I'm so excited that you have the journal and I can't wait to see you in the next video.